Hello, dear listener and viewer. Greetings and salutations. This is Zach Frank, and I'm excited to introduce all of you to two of my colleagues joining me now. They are Jim Kantowski here. He's a founder and partner and our chief investment officer. He's located here in Annapolis, Maryland. And Jake Sadler. He's located down in a beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. And this is the first episode, guys. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
We're doing great, Zach. I'm looking forward to kicking this thing off.
Excellent. That's the energy we like. Perfect. So everyone knows what we're going to be getting into over the course of these next few weeks, months, and dare I say, hopefully years, because I am an optimist when it comes to this show and our longevity. Basically, what we want to do is we want to have a forum in which we can discuss in some great detail and depth some of the concepts that come up again and again when it comes to financial planning, the financial planning process. Because sometimes some of these concepts can seem a little murky, or might have answers that seem obvious that are not. And this will be a place where we can talk about pretty much anything that comes up over the course of a financial planning or wealth management relationship, whether that comes to taxes or retirement planning, that's to say planning as it pertains to investments, or planning as it pertains to what people do in retirement, asset allocations, just questions about different asset classes themselves, really anything that can be contained within the constellation of financial planning, investment management, wealth management. We want Conversations with Baypoint to be your go-to podcast and video series to help answer some of those questions. And one of my favorite questions to ask people is something that seems a little easy to answer, but often turns up some interesting results and isn't always the easiest thing in the world to respond to. So I'm going to put Jim and Jake here in the hot seat with it. And that question is, who are you and what do you do? And we are going to Jim first.
Well, I'm glad you were able to hit me with that question first. I was hoping Jake would lead off with some interesting tidbits, and then I could follow up.
Had a 50-50 shot.
All right, well, I'll take it. I'll see what happens. Jim Kantowski, this is a great opportunity to discuss some of the things that we do in our daily lives from a conversational standpoint. I think one of the things this industry misses out on is just having conversations around finances and helping educate people. And, the backstory of it is in history is a lot of times that, an advisor would sit in front of you and tell you what you needed to do and you wouldn't understand a word they said. So we're trying to put some language around this and conversations around these topics that people can understand and think about. So I'm really passionate about that. I mean, I love what I do financial service wise. I'm passionate about, combining the financial planning and investments. And then, my thing is I really like to incorporate tax planning strategies into people's advice and come at it from a perspective of, at least try and come at it from a perspective of, empathy and understanding, and trying to put myself in clients' shoes to understand where they're coming from, as opposed to just spewing out technical advice. So hopefully that covers the question that you asked, Zach. That was a good shot at it, made up on the fly, not rehearsed. So hopefully that works.
You heard it here, folks. Extemporaneous, and that's what we're going for. Nothing pre-recorded, nothing pre-written, just off the cuff. And Jake, same question. Who are you? What do you do?
All right, it's my turn to be off the cuff a little bit. So my name is Jake Sadler. Kind of reintroduce who I am, and what I do, what we do is really to provide straightforward, understandable advice for our clients as they navigate through their financial lives. And I think one of the themes, and as you're describing, Zach, what we're really, putting this effort in for to record a podcast and cover lots of different topics, is that, number one, through different periods of our financial lives, we're going to encounter different things. And then we're faced with constant changes in markets, in tax law, in consumer preferences, and all different areas of our financial life. And so, our job is really to help clients navigate through all of this in a long-term way. One of the main focuses, that we had, it's really one of the main, challenges for a lot of the folks that we work with is preparing for and then navigating through financial independence. So preparing for financial independence is a really key objective for a lot of our clients. And there are a whole lot of questions around what's the best way to go about this? And what does it look like once I reach that point? And this is, again, education is central to so much of what we do, because as Jim was saying, we want to make sure that everything we're communicating to our clients is done in an understandable way, because that understanding will lead to a greater sense of confidence and a greater likelihood for success in the future for our clients to have that body of knowledge to the extent that they want to have it. So delivering that understandable advice, but also advice that's in their best interest. And that's something that I'm really privileged to be in a position to be able to do, to work with clients as a fiduciary. So to have that duty of loyalty and that duty of care to our clients to make sure that at every juncture, the advice that we're giving them is tailored to them and in their best interest.
So Zach, I mean, come on, you loaded him this question before we started, right? I mean, that was a pretty good answer. I mean, you had to have told him, and he had to have prepared for this.
I can't confirm or deny whether we have a sidebar Slack going on from the main conversations with Bay Point Slack. We're
Max feeding me good answers. Yeah,
exactly.
Good answer,
Softballs. It was thank you both for that. They were both good answers. No favorites here. Just to not to front run the potential for a future episode here. But if you could briefly, Jake, sort of explain just what you mean by that concept of financial independence, because that's at the heart of so much of what we do, as you were saying. But it's also, I feel like that term, within sort of broader understanding can be a little murky.
I mean, I think ultimately it is. I don't think, my attempt to define financial independence will really do it any justice, because, financial independence ultimately needs to be defined by the individual as to, what that means. That's part of our role in working with clients, is to kind of help, identify, how are you defining this? What's important to you? We have clients that never want to stop working. And their idea of financial independence is going to be very different from other clients who, wanted to retire yesterday, but are, still working. So, work doesn't necessarily define, financial independence as it would maybe commonly be thought to. I think just, right off the bat, kind of draw that distinction. But everybody's going to have their own definition for that, whether it's kind of a liberation of time, or to get to a point where it's, you're working by choice, or just having more freedom in other areas of your life. So our job isn't to define financial independence. In my view, it's to help clients define their own view of financial independence.
And I could not have thought of a better way to close out this first episode than that. Jim, Jake, thank you for your time today. I am personally very excited for this series to get going. But it would be unfair if I lobbed the first question at you without having to take a crack at it myself. So similarly, without any pre-work done on this, my name is Zachary Frank. I'm an associate here at Bay Point Wealth. I had the privilege of joining just a little under a year and a half ago. Like many people, I was a pandemic career switcher. I had worked for a few years after college as a journalist in various forms of media. Became very interested in finance, specifically the financial planning and wealth management area of the industry. And I think it was really the pandemic that just sort of kickstarted it in my brain to, think, hey, this is something that a lot of people need and a lot of people struggle with. What can I do to help? So I got very, very interested in sort of reading all the literature that I could on it, and took a shot at it, and was privileged enough to join the Bay Point crew, and here we are.
Yeah, and obviously, your journalistic background gives you a upper hand in leading this thing. So we're very grateful to have that aspect of your experience to be able to have these conversations and actually start figure out how to use a podcast software. So thank you for your help on that.
Yeah.
And answers start with good questions. So I think, Zach, you've got the good questions teed up.
And I'm hoping that we can keep the good questions and the good answers flowing as we continue conversations with Baypoint. Check out every episode should be coming out on a weekly basis. At least that is our goal. And we're going to try very, very hard to stick to it. So until then, I'm Zach Frank. I've been joined by Jim Kantowski and Jake Sadler, and we will see you next time.